Well, you got to remember, South Phoenix again was a migrant community, and in the Hispanic culture, you work with your hands, not necessarily with your brain so much. Your strength is your money maker. So when you talk about your sons and your daughters back then, everybody was in construction. If you weren't in construction, you were in the farms. You knew somebody was plucking or picking, or you did the migrant worker stuff. And then it seems like in the 80s, a lot of people started going to government, and it was government work. You either work for the county, you work for the city, work for the state. You had a job at the hospital. It seemed to kind of shift a little bit, or the post office was big. They hired a lot of Hispanics in the 80s. And that was a big deal. If you were at the post office, you were considered rich because you had a great job, it had a retirement, but and then small business, because in our communities, the big dream for a lot of folks is to own your own business, not to work for anybody. No one can determine your destiny. Your destiny is what you do. So college was kind of not necessarily, unless you were a forward thinker, kind of like a moderate. You didn't even understand the value of college. I think that was the thing. You understood the value of making a dollar, but you didn't understand the future of making that dollar into many dollars, and security and longevity of the workforce. It didn't really resonate for many years because we were still in that migrant worker mentality. It took a lot of leaders to get people out of there and to start pushing that, you have options, and like, whoa, we have options. Oh, that's new. So it was kind of one of those things where, from my perspective as a child, most of my friends were construction. That was the big deal. Or they were actually mechanics. So they were into the mechanic world, construction world. They loved cars because of the cruising central thing. Everybody loved the low riders. And that really kind of moved people into just basic mechanics. Unless you were in a family where you had college educated people that can speak to the value of college, you generally didn't get a good consensus of the value of college. And I think that's where, like, for myself and my friends, that's where the separation was. They were in single families, moms raising, 3, 4 kids. And college was not even on their purview. It wasn't even a consideration. But for me, it was like, hey, my dad wants me to go to college. You want to go where? Where's that at? I don't know. We'll figure it out, I guess. So it was quite unique back then. And I think that kind of, if you think about it, do you want to build a road that trucks can obviously go past, and you don't got to go through potholes anymore when it rains, there's no more mud? We want to build a college. And for the people that are residents, they have to weigh the difference between necessity and probability, because colleges are built possibilities, where a road is just a road. I mean, it's for your immediate use. You're not going through potholes. You're not going through mud. It costs a lot of money to build a road. And when you put the perspective of development versus, an improvement that could take you down the road, most people will pick development because it's what they see. Traffic lights, sidewalks, roads, clean roads, fresh lines down the middle of Central Avenue. They generally gravitate to what they need more than what they can perceive they're going to need later. But when the college was built, I can tell you they were very proud. They couldn't believe it. And most people didn't even know how to react to it. Knowing that it is a college, a place of additional education for South Phoenicians, most people were just happy because they heard the word college. And you got to remember, in Hispanic perspectives, especially back then, there weren't a lot of educated Hispanics. Most Hispanics did not go to college. Most Hispanics worked. And that was the thing. You work. You go work at the mine. You work in the fields. Your job is the labor world. And that's where you made your money. That's where everybody bought their new trucks, and all came from that world. But when the college was built, I think that maybe had started something new, a little seed that grew into another orchard, of ideas.